Greetings, God bless, and welcome back. So, I was just looking through some olden time black and white photos from like the Victorian era, and there was this one, I'll try to put it in the thumbnail, but it was this young woman who was going to be hired, and you could just tell the tension of the lady who was hiring her, the meanness in the body language. And that's what I've noticed is like there will be people like if I'm not working for them and we're just socializing, they're okay. But when that person is the manager, the owner or whatever, they then think that they are the ruler of those entry level workers' lives and that they get to put them down, that they get to tell them what to do, that when they say jump, these employees have to jump, or else they're being what's that word? Um, they're misbehaving, they're retaliating. I forget what the word is. And I have heard about retirement communities are hell for a lot of people because there's all these micromanaging people, these retired business people, these retired managers who want to micromanage their spouses, that want to micromanage their children, that want to micromanage everybody around them, that want to micromanage each other. So there's all these micromanagers trying to micromanage each other. And nobody likes that. Nobody. And the thing is, these micromanagers are like, "Well, I was a successful person. I'm valuable because I tell everybody what to do because you had money because people were desperate to pay their rent." And then people nowadays are like, "Well, where are all those entry level workers? Like, why aren't they working?" And I've heard this from truthers that I respect, that are liberty minded and whatnot. But there are these entitled people who are like, where are the entry level workers to be kicked in the teeth? So they're going to be kicked in the teeth by their manager. They're going to be kicked in the teeth by the customers. They're going to be kicked in the teeth by taxes. They're going to be kicked in the teeth by whatever else, the toxins in the environment and whatnot. And people are complaining that there's just not enough entry level workers basically volunteering because entry level workers, in my opinion, are not paid, they're not paid a living uh, wage for them to actually eat nutritious food, uh, to be able to buy it because an entry level worker does the not have the wherewithal. And yes, privileged people are like, well, you should find the time and you should have the wherewithal. You should just do research and blah, blah, blah. And the thing is, when people are like, when their parents were entry level workers, um, who had maybe grown up in terrible poverty, those parents did not have the wherewithal, and they did not teach their children. And perhaps, yes, I know there's some people who are absolute jerks and selfish, and they don't care, and they just make a mess of everything. Okay, yeah, there's those people, but there's some people who never learned it and who do not have the capacity to just have the this great healthy life. And so what helps is for your entry level worker to be able to buy a nutritious meal. What helps is having like safe, healthy housing for your entry level worker, safe, healthy workplace. And these are all impossibilities. Uh, any affordable rental is usually toxic, usually has like, all right, now there's all this terrible noise that I always have to listen to that is like damaging my hearing. It's so stressful. And I'm in a great situation. But like it's a nightmare to exist on Earth. And I take that, okay, Satan's ruling the earth, and we're just having to be tortured by sound, tortured by all these toxic chemicals, tortured by poison food, tortured by poison water, tortured by poison people. And, just it's an onslaught. And there are people who are privileged and blessed, and for some reason they don't have to deal with it, or they have all this resilience. They're genetically gifted to be able to deal with all this poisoning and torture and whatever. But some of us just can't. Some of us are not able to function optimally when being tortured by sound and poison and malnutrition and whatnot, especially when it's like multi generational. And so, anyways, I really think, there's people who are like, oh, I hate this entry level worker. I hate how pathetic this person is. I hate how dysfunctional this person is. I blame them and I'm going to judge them. I'm going to manage them to death. I'm going to micromanage them to force them to live life as I think they should live their life. And then people are like, where are all the workers? Where are, because it's like hell. It's like entry level workers are in an unregulated workplace. Nobody's protecting entry level workers unless somebody's being raped and murdered. There's, and maimed, like there's blood dripping all over the customers. Okay. I mean, there is not enough staff in human rights organizations for your city. Just look it up. Like there's thousands of claims that have been filed probably in your area that the one person who's taking care of it all cannot manage, and so they have to work on most the low entitled people. And I would include a lot of like liberty minded, educated, uh, positive influencers, otherwise positive influencers who are so unaware of the negligent, abusive working conditions that entry level working class people have to endure. And and then and after the past, people are forced to have weird stuff injected into them and have weird things jabbed into their sinuses to break their cribriform plate, and to have to do oxygen deprivation just to go through this hell, work in this nightmare. And people are wondering where they are. Number one, a lot are dead. Number two, a lot are maimed. Number three, many have started their own business. Number four, many probably are homeless and mentally ill. And number five, many committed suicide. So it's like, yeah, it's just so like, okay, just no, very few people can kind of calculate this situation. But I do think that there's just mean. I mean, every once in a while I hear about some great manager that somebody's had. I could tell you, like, I've had a lot of managers because I worked as a office temporary because I found the workplace just unbearable, just like physically intolerable. And then the people weren't that. You're a really stressed out person living hand to mouth and not even making enough. You're not your best because you're just, I mean, my hair prematurely turned gray when it started in my 20s. Okay. Because I was so stressed out, and like my hair turned prematurely white in my 30s, 40s. Like your hair's not supposed to turn white until, I mean, there's people in their 80s with dark hair still that aren't dyeing it. So I just like, I didn't know how to navigate life, and I was doing my best. um, so anyways, I think that people hate stressed out entry level workers who are overwhelmed. um, but this life is hell. This life is a nightmare. And there, if somebody's like an entry level worker stressed out, it means that they did not have resources to cushion them, and they're fighting this battle all of themselves, like all by themselves. And hopefully they have God in their life, but maybe not. Because it takes some like decompressing and some reflection and time to realize God and have a relationship with Him. It seems to me like constantly stressing, trying to take care of life, makes it very hard to get in touch with God, which is probably the point of this tremendous, crazy struggle that it is to make a living, to pay bills, to live in your means. So anyways, and I just think, people are like, well, where are the entry level workers so I can kick them in the teeth? Because that's what's going on. Like there's like these entitled people who are like, get me a coffee, blah blah blah. Oh, nobody should be offended at how rude I'm being. Although that person would not like to be treated that way. But there's people who think they get to kick other people in the teeth, and that those people who are getting kicked in the teeth should just deal with it and have their own kind of, you know, like process that helps, that just fixes it. Um, and then there's like the silent majority who know that you're not supposed to kick employees in the teeth, but don't say anything. And that's the problem with this world. The problem with this world is like the abusers, which is a small proportion, maybe 1 to 10%, and then there's the silent majority that knows it's wrong, but they don't say anything. And the thing is, if that silent majority said something, if that silent majority did something, you know, appropriate action or appropriate words, that this would make the world a better place. But that silent majority has just become more complacent and passive, and this is where we're at right now with this pedophile grooming and this bigotry against certain skin colors, and this agenda getting children to have hormones and sex change operations. That's irreversible. Um, and not taking care of mental health, and uh, doing um, unapproved medical procedures, causing people to suffocate. Man, I mean, we are things are pretty bad now, and I know they're going to get worse. So, anyways, this, I guess I'm saying, if you're the silent majority who has a sense of decency, like, we need you to speak up, and not, I'm not saying yell. I'm not saying, jeopardize your livelihood. I'm just saying, say something. Just, this doesn't work. I don't think that's very nice. You know, like, please be polite to the entry level worker. Like yesterday, I was waiting online at at the CVS, and some guy was at a self checkout, and the two clerks were running around helping other people and ignoring the guy at the self checkout section. I don't know what was up that he had the little call light flashing, and it was ringing, and they kept telling him, "Oh, we'll get to you," but they would take care of other people. And I was like, so this one lady who was on her phone, um, at the register, she was like, "I'll take you next." And I'm like, "Oh, you can take care. Like, that guy's been waiting," and that guy was like waiting for help before I even step on the line. Um, folks, just do that little thing. It didn't. The lady looked exasperated that she had to go help the guy at the self checkout section, and he had flashed the. Let me, like, she was on her phone. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with people. And I figured that lady had some banking issue or something. you know Hopefully that was within reason to have to be on your phone. Of course, she was playing music pretty loud on her phone too. So I don't know what's going on with people, but like, and like, do human decent that for some reason they want to help, but there's somebody waiting. Like, speak up for that person who's waiting, who's trying to be patient. Um, yeah, because the civilization, it doesn't function all by itself. Civilization and humanity is alive only because you participate. And if you're just opting out, you're like, oh, I'm playing video games, I'm smoking my dope, I'm taking my pharmaceuticals, so I'm just out of my mind. I'm just going to be on my I'm just going to be a workaholic. I'm just going to be a hobbyaholic or something like that. The world, oh, whatever, who cares about the world? Well, that's the way you're going to be. And it's clear that's what a lot of people are doing. Like, then we're going to have like this very terrible collapse. And I believe it's the end of the world. But it doesn't have to be a really horrible, messy end of the world. Like, for instance, death. There's these horrible, violent deaths, and then there's good deaths. And it doesn't, like, this end of the world does not have to be as ghastly and disgusting as it's appearing, with people biting each other's face off, and you know all this kind of just bad stuff going on. Like, folks, just like, wake up, look outside of your reality, use your words, speak up, um, and be a good human being. Participate in your world. And yeah, it's going to be messy, it's going to be uncomfortable. People are going to like you for having a different opinion because you're not whatever. But we need you. So thank you for watching. God bless.